Well, the drama in Red Bull doesn't seem to settle at all, and after 2022 revealed some controversial and juicy details between Perez and Verstappen, 2023 continued to provide more competitiveness and drama between these two. After Verstappen denied team orders to secure the fastest lap of the race and his father didn't move a muscle in front of Perez while the Mexican was celebrating the win with his engineer, it seems like Red Bull is about to head into a season that Mercedes experienced all the way back in 2016. While this could be good for the sport, it would definitely put a huge black mark on the team's reputation, something that Red Bull doesn't need in these successful moments. The Monaco GP in 2022 revealed that Perez used dirty tactics to stay ahead of Verstappen, and the Dutchman wasn't ready to forgive him, even though the Mexican did so much to help him for the 2021 championship and a lot of the wins in 2022 as well. But you don't become a two-time world champion if you try to please the team and his teammate. And according to recent reports, the 2023 season is going to be one of the most highly anticipated ones in terms of the battle between Perez and Verstappen. Now, in Saudi Arabia, we were able to see Perez actually holding off his teammate in a fair and square battle, even though Verstappen started all the way back at P15 and his tyres were more damaged compared to Perez. But last year in Spa, he was able to win the race and cruise through Perez without any issues, so the fact that the Mexican driver has now upped his game and has shown that he's the king of the street circuits yet again has provided some interesting things to look for in 2023, the battle between Red Bull's teammates. This time it seems like Perez's statement about him being in the fight for the championship is a legitimate one, given the fact that Red Bull already announced that they found a solution that will suit both Perez and Verstappen. This is definitely bad news for the Dutchman, who was able to bring a lot of performance and pace to Red Bull's 2022 challenges thanks to upgrades that moved the car away from Perez. Now, after being in Verstappen's shadow for 2 years, Perez has decided that his time has come, and he's decided to take things publicly to Twitter. The last time that he tweeted that the championship battle was on, the car started to stray further away from him, but now that doesn't seem to be the case with Red Bull at all. This time, Perez tweeted that he wants to be a champion, with his intention being to push Verstappen and give him a run for his money. What's very interesting is that his tweet was posted after the Saudi GP, when Perez celebrated the win, and the tensions at Red Bull have arisen a lot. The tension was also very high when Perez found out that Verstappen had the fastest lap in the last lap of the race and asked him whether the team had told him to keep the pace and not push any further. But hey, you're up against a two-time world champion. Surely you can't expect him to win the championship the easy way. If you're capable of beating a generational talent like Verstappen, then you need to expect high levels of competition every weekend, and lacking isn't on the menu. What doesn't go in Perez's favour is the fact that Verstappen warned Red Bull that he wasn't here to finish second, and even though he had a very good recovery race to follow Perez for the second 1-2 finish of Red Bull this season, the Dutchman isn't happy as long as he isn't standing on the highest place on the podium. The competitive spirit in him is very high, and quite frankly, Verstappen would be much happier if someone else won the race and not Perez, which is quite selfish of a teammate to think. Even during the post-race in Jeddah, you could see that the emotions between Verstappen and Perez were much different, and Verstappen will have a lot more to say in the upcoming racing weekend. One thing that definitely helped Perez is the fact that his teammate started all the way back at P15, and he cannot count on this many times in the future races. And the reaction of Jos Verstappen during Perez's celebration of the win definitely went viral, so that had to be talked about in Red Bull. According to reports, Helmut Marko has spoken to the father of the two-time world champion, telling him that actions like the one he took in Jeddah won't be accepted in the future, and if he isn't there to celebrate the success of the team, then he won't be present during the racing weekends anymore. For comparison, we remember how much Perez's father celebrated Verstappen's wins, as long as his son finished on the podium or had a decent finish at all. But it doesn't end here. Many F1 experts and former F1 champions believe that the battle between Perez and Verstappen is about to get juicier. And according to Damon Hill, Perez has stepped up to the plate this season and has demonstrated that he's ready to win his first career championship, now that the team has provided him with a decent machinery to do so. Maybe he stepped up a notch. I had ruthlessness when I needed it. It's that commitment to yourself and not taking things lying down when things happen in the team. Standing up for yourself and saying, no, I'm not going to get pushed around. Sometimes the attention is not equally distributed from one side of the garage to the other. Furthermore, Hill believes that Red Bull is investing much more in Verstappen as an individual, and he's definitely been the chosen driver to bring back multiple championships to the team, something that he's managed to do 2 times in a row now. However, with Perez stepping up and saying directly that he wants to be in the championship fight, and with Red Bull providing a decent car for the Mexican, one couldn't help but wonder, where is this battle going to end? One thing is for sure, the tension between Verstappen and Perez is on the highest possible level, and this time Perez isn't going to back down. The Mexican driver has all to drive for, and for the first time ever, he was able to outpace Verstappen in a direct battle. Even when he was given the command to drive 0.4 per lap slower than Verstappen in the ending stages of the race, Perez said that the team is now pushing without a particular reason in a weekend when Verstappen struggled with reliability issues during the qualifying session, and went on to push the RB19 to a solid 5-second advantage ahead of his teammate. Verstappen's warning to Red Bull is definitely something we need to pay closer attention to, and after he explained why he went for the fastest lap in the last attempt on the race, he went on to add, "My first weekend in Bahrain was not very clean because of just the big balance shift from testing to the race weekend, some other things which were going on in the background, and now again after 3 positive practice sessions of course, I have an issue in qualifying. Of course I recovered to second, which is good, and in general the whole feeling in the team, everyone is happy, but personally I'm not happy because I'm not here to be second." A similar situation happened to Mercedes back in 2016, but this time we need to ask ourselves, does Perez have what Rosberg had back then to endure the attacks of a driver that is already a proven champion and has been in a much more difficult situation? While Perez's competitiveness has surely surprised Verstappen, with the Dutchman being used to breezing past his teammate for the past 2 years, this will definitely not be the case for the remainder of the 2023 season. And Perez's Jeddah pace could be a one-off, given that the Mexican driver is very good on street circuits, but frequently fails to maintain competitiveness throughout the season. That's why he needs to remain at the highest level possible, because one of the hardest things in Formula 1 is to successfully challenge a proven world champion, something that Verstappen did with success back in 2021, although with a bit of controversy involved at the end of the season. Therefore, Red Bull has everything to play for, and now the glove has been thrown by Perez. It's up to Verstappen to return the strike back to Perez and show him who's the alpha male in the team, even though Horner said that the battle between these two will go without any restrictions from the team. This was seen in Jeddah as well, when both of them were given the green light to push, even though they were far ahead of Alonso on P3. So with that in mind, what do you think about Red Bull's internal battle? Do you think Perez has a legitimate chance of successfully winning the battle with Verstappen? Let us know in the comments down below.